Imagine waking up today in a cave. It's freezing, and the place reeks of a mix of smoke and rotting meat. The first thing you do isn't washing your face, it's making sure you still have all your limbs. Because in the Stone Age, sleep isn't rest, it's a risk. You don't sleep for 8 hours like you do now. Instead, you sleep in shifts, with one eye, always on the fire. In this video, I'm not going to talk about the greats of history. I'm going to show you the details that would gross you out in their everyday life. What did their breakfast consist of? And how did their bodies turn into deformed machines before the age of 20? Buckle up, because we're going back 20,000 years. The first rule in the morning: there is no kitchen. If you're lucky, you'll find leftover bone marrow from yesterday's hunt, which was literally ice cream for a caveman. But most days, your breakfast consists of larvae, dirt-covered roots, or even rotting meat left behind by a leopard. Why didn't they die of poisoning? Their bodies possessed gut bacteria 100 times stronger than your stomach. You wash an apple 3 times now, while they were eating meat that worms had already started to settle in. As soon as you finish your disgusting breakfast, the physical suffering begins. You don't walk to work, you run to work. By age 20, your bones look like those of a 60-year-old man, due to carrying heavy loads and running barefoot on sharp rocks. Every step you take is a potential ankle fracture. And in this era, a broken ankle is a death sentence. Now you're outside the cave, the sun is starting to rise, and it's time to communicate, but don't expect deep conversations about your feelings. Their language was a mix of guttural sounds and complex hand signals. Imagine you're in the middle of a dense forest. Any loud noise could attract a predator or a hostile tribe. That's why the ancient human mastered the language of silence. A simple gesture with your finger means there's a deer behind the tree, and a specific movement of your shoulder means run, there's a leopard watching us. This visual and physical communication made their senses insanely sharp. They don't see the forest the way you do. They have smelled the scent of fear and hear the sound of a tiny twig snapping a kilometer away. Intelligence here wasn't about solving math equations. It was about reading the language of nature before it read you. It is now 2 in the afternoon. You're walking through an area you've never entered before, and suddenly everyone stops. 50 meters away, a group of humans is watching you. There's no hello, or where are you guys from here. In the Stone Age, a stranger is a threat until proven otherwise. Your brain now goes into fight or flight mode. Do these people have better arrow technology than us? Are they hungry enough to eat us? Yes. Cannibalism wasn't a myth, it was a survival strategy in hard times. Archaeologists have found human bones with the same butchery marks found on deer bones. This encounter could end in 2 ways, either a trade for pieces of gemstones and clothing, or a silent massacre that ends by wiping your tribe's existence from history. Imagine the psychological stress you'd live through. Every snapping branch could mean an enemy is lurking, not just a wild rabbit. It is now 7 in the evening. The sun is starting to set. And for you, this means safety is over. In the Stone Age, darkness isn't a time for romance or stargazing. It's the time of monsters. You don't have streetlights. You only have a small torch flame as your only line of defense between you and saber-toothed tigers that see 10 times better than you in the dark. Have you ever wondered why we're still afraid of the dark to this day? Your brain still remembers those nights in the cave. Sitting around the fire wasn't just for warmth, it was a heat shield. There was always one person who stayed awake. Their job wasn't just to guard the tribe, but to make sure the fire stayed lit for fear of predators. Because if the fire went out, death would literally come from the shadows in silence. During these hours, the ancient human practiced their strangest rituals, painting on walls or telling terrifying stories about spirits haunting the forest. They were trying to explain the fear they felt in their hearts, because they knew they were the weakest creatures out there once the light vanished. It's time for sleep, but there are no feather pillows or air conditioners. You sleep on the hard ground, covered in an animal hide you probably killed yourself last week. But the biggest secret scientists have uncovered is that Stone Age humans didn't sleep for 8 continuous hours like we do. They practiced what is called segmented sleep. They would sleep for 4 hours, then wake up in the middle of the night for an hour or 2. This system is the reason why you sometimes wake up at 3 a.m. feeling strangely energetic. It's a genetic legacy from your ancestors, who had to stay alert to stay alive. By dawn, the cycle begins again. A tired body, an empty stomach, and a world waiting for you to make one mistake to finish you off. The life of the ancient human wasn't just survival, it was a constant battle against the impossible. And the next time you complain about slow internet or cold coffee, remember our friend who was eating larvae for breakfast and running from a saber-toothed tiger at this exact time. If you've made it this far, you now know more than 90% of people about the true Stone Age routine. Do you think you could have survived for a single day back then? Or would you have been different? What would have been dessert for a hungry leopard? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Because in the next episode, we're going to open a much scarier file about the first cold case in history that science hasn't been able to solve until now. See you then.